Hey everybody, what's going on? The C4 is set to release soon, but it doesn't feel like the TV's release will be as explosive as we hoped. I mean, sorry for the obvious C4 pun, but real talk, doesn't it feel like people aren't as excited for this TV's release as they usually are with LG? Has the C-series lost its allure? I honestly feel like LG's reputation is somewhat at stake here, unless they make a drastic change, and I'll talk specifically on what I think they should change later in the video. Now, throughout this video, you will see mostly footage of the LG C3. This is a TV that many people ended up ignoring last year. In fact, the C3 probably had the least amount of excitement for an LG OLED TV that I can remember. People sort of soured on it, and I really think that the feeling is going to get even worse this year. But why is that? Well, there's a couple of very good reasons for this, so let me explain. The past couple of years, LG C-series televisions were regarded as a must-have premium TV for movie watching and gaming. Everybody wanted one, and once you owned one, you felt like nothing else beat it. It was everybody's dream TV, and I really feel like that was the case as well, up until about 2021. After that, we saw competitors like Sony and Samsung release TVs that ended up being highly competitive in that price bracket, introducing new innovative features that threatened to take that dream TV reputation away from LG. For example, Sony created the XR processor, an image processor which made their OLED TVs using the same display technology have arguably better image quality overall than the LG OLED TVs. And perhaps the biggest shift in the competitive market happened in the last 2 years, with the release of QD-OLED technology, a technology that did what WOLED did, but better. Something that took LG's weaknesses and made them into actual strengths. So let's take a look at last year, for example. The LG C3 ended up having a huge mismatch on its hands, with Samsung releasing the S90C QD-OLED. It was at the same exact launch price, and after seeing them side by side, there was no other way to put it, except for the S90C was just a flat-out better TV, to the degree where it felt like the C3 no longer belonged in this particular price range. It belonged in a much lower price bracket. That's how bad the C3 lost to the S90C in my opinion. But to be fair to LG, most TVs also fell to the S90C, including Samsung's own TVs. So yes, these were certainly huge problems for the LG C-series, but I also feel like one of the biggest problems LG had was also created by themselves. Now, let me explain. But first, if you guys are enjoying this video, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, of course, and it will help me grow the channel. So thank you guys so much for your continued support. Okay, so how did LG create more problems for itself exactly? Well, first, you have to look at the lack of innovation in the C-series. They just weren't improving it beyond minor changes from year to year. So if you own an LG C-series from a previous year, and you were looking to upgrade to a new TV, you really were never given any reason to upgrade to the newest LG C-series. And in turn, you might have found yourself going with one of LG's competitors. In a way, the C-series started to feel stagnant. It was kind of like the EA Sports Madden franchise of the consumer TV market. They were only selling off of brand reputation, but not really changing anything significant that made you feel like you got a much better image than previous iterations. And what's also unfortunate is the growing gap between the C-series and the G-series televisions. And last year specifically, things have gotten bad in that regard, and they continue to get even worse this year, which I'll explain in a second. But in the past, it wasn't really a huge separation between the C-series and the G-series. Beyond getting the gallery design and the wall mount, sure, maybe you get a slight brightness difference due to the G-series having a heatsink, but side by side, it wasn't a large noticeable difference. That changed last year though, with the introduction of MLA in the G3. This allowed the TV to get twice as bright as the LG C3, and that difference showed up significantly when they were placed next to each other. So how does that gap get even worse this year, you ask? Well, this year LG is introducing a new processor, and to be honest, this processor really did feel long overdue. LG is calling it the Alpha 11 AI processor, but there's one big problem. This processor is not going to be placed in the LG C-series. Instead, the C-series is getting a new iteration of the A9 processor. The same treatment as previous years. Again, minor improvements. And take this into consideration. It's not often you actually see a TV company reserving their best image processor for their flagship TVs. For example, the Samsung S90C, it has the same processor as the S95C. The Sony A80L, it has the same processor as the flagship A95L QD OLED. So not only is the G-series a better choice because of technology and brightness improvements, but now you also have a clear image processing advantage as well. And you guys definitely made this clear. The feeling that I got from you guys when this was announced is that you kind of felt like this was a huge slap in the face to people that were intent on buying an LG C4. Quickly, I want to bring up gaming because it has a lot to do with the video topic. We really need changes here, and it's not brought up enough. So fair warning, here comes some heavy criticism. LG C-Series is regarded as, quote, the best gaming TV, but as of late, I can't say that they deserve this title. Yet people seem to keep running with it, and LG keeps getting awards for the best gaming TV. But again, LG OLEDs are surviving off of reputation in this regard. It's really not the case where they should be getting awards for this. Because regardless if it's a C-Series or a G-Series, these TVs have some very notable game mode limitations that tend to get ignored by many publications, and unfortunately, I really don't understand why this is. It should be discussed more. If something is an issue to this degree for multiple years now, then why isn't it talked about more? Instead of blindly saying it's the best gaming TV, I wish people would actually go into details about the game mode more. As far as the issues, I won't go too far into them because I've touched on it in depth in other videos, but to briefly sum it up, you have more instances of noticeable color banding, aka image posterization, than any of the other competitors. And unfortunately with LG, the settings option intended to clean this up, smooth gradation, isn't functioning within game mode. On top of that, you have significantly lower HDR impact for the games that are displayed on their TVs due to an overall reduced color brightness in game mode. And in standard dynamic range, the peak brightness setting is set and locked to off, and what you see from competitors is the completely opposite. They do not lock this setting down in their game mode. So how is this the best gaming TV available exactly? It's a mystery to me. Now yes, that is a lot of criticisms, but I am only saying these things so that the C-Series gets better with time. And to be clear, even with all these downsides and lack of innovation stacking up against the LG C-Series, if you get this TV, it's still one of the best looking TVs you can buy. And although it's not the best looking TV, most people who buy it will likely love the image on the screen. So that's not what's up for debate here. The problem is that the price bracket that it's in, you have other TVs that are available that are just clearly better, and they keep getting better year after year. And what's even more unfortunate is last year's TVs like the S90C, they'll be better and much cheaper once the C4 is released this year. So the LG C4 has an uphill battle on its hands. And in my eyes, the C4 is a TV that feels like it's lost that battle before it's even released. And that really sucks to say, because the first premium TV I bought myself was an LG C7 OLED, and I absolutely loved it. But with the C4 seemingly feeling like it's going to be dead on arrival, is there any way that it can be saved? Well, I feel like the only thing that you can really do to save it this year is to launch it at a lower price point. And then going forward for the C5, it's going to have MLA as well as the A11 processor. The C-Series just needs MLA to compete with QD OLED. And it needs a better image processor to compete with Sony. But in both of these areas this year, the C4 feels neglected, and I personally feel like once more consumers get educated on the benefits of all the available display technologies in this price bracket, more people will end up just picking QD OLED because it has so many clear advantages over a traditional WRGB OLED without MLA. But that's just my view of things. I would love to hear what you guys think. Do you agree or disagree with me? And has LG's decisions with the C4 changed your 2024 TV buying plans if you're in the market for a TV? Tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you guys like this video, please remember to hit the like button if you want to see more discussion-based videos. And if you want to keep watching videos on 2024 TVs, I think you'll enjoy this video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.